Hello, Sarah and Alee. This time it's Alee's turn, and I thought I would read from one of my favorite books. This is a book that was given to my mother in 1941 called When We Were Very Young by A. Milne, who wrote Winnie the Pooh. And there are some poems I'm particularly fond of. And since it's Alee's birthday on the 16th, I am recording this for her. The Four Friends. Ernest was an elephant, a great big fellow. Leonard was a lion with a 6-foot tail. George was a goat, and his beard was yellow. And James was a very small snail. Leonard had a stall, and a great big strong one. Ernest had a manger, and its walls were thick. George found a pen, but I think it was the wrong one. And James sat down on a brick. Ernest started trumpeting and raised such a rumpus. Leonard started roaring and shook his stall. James gave the huffle of a snail in danger, but nobody heard him at all. Ernest started trumpeting and raised such a rumpus. Leonard started roaring and trying to kick. James went on a journey with the goat's new compass, and he reached the end of his brick. Ernest was an elephant and very well intentioned. Leonard was a lion with a brave new tail. George was a goat, as I think that I have mentioned, but James was only a snail. The second story I really loved, and I think you did too, Alee, was The Three Foxes. Once upon a time, there were 3 little foxes who didn't wear stockings and they didn't wear sockses. But they all had handkerchiefs to blow their noses, and they kept their handkerchiefs in cardboard boxes. They lived in the forest in 3 little houses, and they didn't wear coats and they didn't wear trousers. They ran through the woods on their bare little tootsies, and they played touch last with a family of mooses. They didn't go shopping in the high street shopses, but caught what they wanted in the woods and copses. They all went fishing and they caught 3 wormses. They went out hunting and they caught 3 waspses. They went to a fair and they all won prizes, 3 plum puddingses and 3 mince pieses. They rode on elephants and swang on swingses, and hit 3 coconuts at coconut shizes. That's all I know of the 3 little foxes who kept their handkerchiefs in cardboard boxes. They lived in the forest in 3 little houses, but they didn't wear coats and they didn't wear trousers, and they didn't wear stockings and they didn't wear sockses. But, Alee, your absolute favorite, and also one of mine, was The King's Breakfast. This one's slightly longer, but it relies on the mnemonics of rhyme. So, the king asked the queen, and the queen asked the dairymaid, "Could we have some butter for the royal slice of bread?" The queen asked the dairymaid. The dairymaid said, "Certainly, I'll go and tell the cow now before she goes to bed." The dairymaid, she curtsied and went to the Alderney. "Don't forget the butter for the royal slice of bread." The Alderney said sleepily, "You'd better tell His Majesty that many people nowadays like marmalade instead." The dairymaid said, "Fancy," and went to Her Majesty. She curtsied to the Queen, and she turned a little red. "Excuse me, Your Majesty, for taking of the liberty, but marmalade is tasty if it's very thickly spread." The Queen said, "Oh," and went to His Majesty. "Talking of the butter for the royal slice of bread, many people think that marmalade is nicer. Would you like to try a little marmalade instead?" The King said, "Bother!" And then he said, "Oh, dearie me." The king sobbed, "Oh, dearie me," and went back to bed. "Nobody," he whimpered, "could call me a fussy man. I only want a little bit of butter for my bread." The queen said, "There, there," and went to tell the dairymaid. The dairymaid said, "There, there," and went to the shed. The Alderney said, "There, there, I didn't really mean it. Here's milk for his porridge and butter for his bread." The queen took the butter and brought it to his majesty. The king said, "Butter, eh?" and jumped out of bed. Oh, sorry, bounced out of bed. My bad. The king said, "Butter, eh?" and bounced out of bed. "Nobody," he said as he kissed her tenderly. "Nobody," he said as he slid down the banisters. "Nobody, my darling, could call me a fussy man. But I do like a little bit of butter for my bread." And that is Alison's gift for her birthday, because I already made one for Sarah for hers. Have a wonderful day, and remember, I love you.